So this is the Free Soldier multifunctional hammock, and I'm going to be using this to demonstrate what features you should be looking for in a decent hammock. Now, as you can see, this particular one, it compresses down nice and small. In here is your actual hammock, the hanging strops, and some additional paracord. So it's nice and compact, there's no weight to it at all, and it is ideal for your bug out bag. If you was to compare this to the amount of kit you're going to need if you was to think about a tent, with tent poles, even the lightweight fiberglass ones, ground sheets, in a tent, out of tent, etc. It's much more bulkier than this. So the hammock is ideal bug out bag equipment. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a little look at what's important in a hammock itself. Like I say, in this Free Soldier one you get all your necessary strops. As you can see, I can compress that down even more if I needed to. But I'm going to lay this out, and you can see the physical size of it. I'm 5'8", I weigh 94 kilos, and this is perfect for me. You can get larger hammocks in so much as they're longer. You can get hammocks that will take a considerable amount more of weight than me. So that's something you must check before you buy a hammock, is that you're buying something suitable for yourself. The Free Soldier here, that's got a 100 kilo, 220 pound general working load. Trust me, it will take a lot more. They will all take a lot more. They give these figures just to safeguard themselves. But as I've got it laid out here on the ground, this hammock becomes multifunctional in so much as it's not like your traditional cocoon that comes to one point where everything is tied together. It lays flat so that you can use it as an emergency bivvy. Now, what you would in effect do with some cord, you feed through the ends, wrap round and peg down on both ends, and then here you tie up maybe to a twig or to a tree or something. You tie up here and you're going in, and you've got a low level overnight bivvy. Add it to a low level tarp over the top for waterproofing, and it's ideal for concealment, for wild camping, for bug out, and for emergency uses. So multifunctional is something that's worth looking at in a hammock. But what we've got here is slopey ground. We've got lots of debris, we've got roots coming through, a couple of rocks and stones, very uneven. So of course you're going to be wanting to use a hammock, and this type of hammock is ideally suited. I want to now go through the points on this hammock that make it preferable to other hammocks and what you should be looking out for. So the first thing to consider when choosing a hammock is the actual material that it's made from. Now, do not choose a cotton hammock. They're a complete no-no. Disregard them completely. They are a material that is both heavy, and if it gets wet is going to be an absolute nightmare to dry out, and they're not really waterproof. So you want to go more for the synthetic man-made fibres. They are stronger, they're generally more heavier duty, and they're certainly more waterproof. The Free Soldier here is made of a polyester nylon. It is very strong. It isn't, but it reminds me of like a Gore-Tex type material. But it's a polyester nylon. It's you measure nylon in denier, and it's a 300 denier. This 600 denier would be a heavy-duty rucksack, to give you some idea. So what you're getting here is strength combined with lightweight. So a nylon, polyester are the best materials to go for. Now when the hammock is made, ideally you want it to be made in one complete unit, so that it's all sewn and stitched the same. Now any point on the hammock where there's an attachment or a loop obviously needs to be ultra secure. Do not buy anything that's got a loop that's glued to the canvas. That's going to pull off completely. So what you're looking for is obviously the double stitching, but a reinforcing pad behind. The loop is double stitched and looped round on itself here, here, and within this extra reinforcement piece. That's quite important because that's where this is liable to tear off if it's not strong. Now, the next thing is to have a little look at the zip itself. The zips, the thing to look for is always go for an internal and an external zip. Obviously when you're inside you can zip it up then, and a pair so that either end you can zip down for either end. Most manufacturers use pretty much the same type of nylon zipper. It's a fine gauge nylon zipper because you want it to be reasonably waterproof. Here with your hammock, try to get an integral Mozzie net. These nets here. It is an absolute pain if you've got an open hammock and then you've got to try and put a net over yourself. That simply doesn't work. And if you want to sleep in this without the use of a Mozzie net, you simply lay on top of it. It's not difficult. But of course, if you want some bugs to take up residence with you each night, if you want to try and avoid that, then use an integral Mozzie net. The mesh will not be waterproof. It'll be a little bit of water resistant. It's going to water's going to run off it, but it's not going to resist standing water. That's why we normally have a tarp over the top of our hammocks. If you look at this hammock, you can see all the time double stitching, reinforcement here. So this actually is a very, very good hammock. I like its design from the fact that it's a square hammock, giving you this this additional feature of being able to put it on the ground. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hang the hammock up and show you some more features that a square hammock offers. So this is a conventional hammock end where it's all gathered together. But again, with a multifunctional hammock like this one, I could simply grab myself a stick, and now I can widen the sleeping bed quite considerably by adding that in. Now, I would of course make a better job than that. I'd cut down a live branch, I'd shape it, I'd also feed it through in here. But just to show you what I mean, this has now given another completely new dimension to the hammock. It's widening it, it's giving it more of a lay flat bed effect. And when I first saw this on a hammock, I was a bit weary, but having used this one and having slept in it with what is in effect a spreader bar, it's actually very, very comfortable. And I prefer it to having this method, the gathered ends, where you get that cocoon effect. It works very, very well. So that's another feature to look out for when you're buying a hammock. The next thing, with this Mozzie net here, you don't want it right on your face, so we're going to be looking at tying this up as well. And I would go for shock cord, 2-3 mil shock cord, you can get that anywhere. Strap it between the two trees going through. I've actually done it on this end, and I've added a little wood spreader as well, just to give you an idea. But as you can see, that is taking the Mozzie net away from your face. Now, if I just do this, I'm just going to run that stick through there. That's very basic. Now this is the setup I've got here, using an arrow shaft as my spreader bar. If you get two, you cut them down to the width that you want the spreader to be, and then put the knock on each end, and that fits into your paracord or your shock cord perfectly. Obviously the weight is next to nothing, and I've cut them down the same length as the stuff sack so that it goes in, and I've got my spreader bars already made rather than hunting round for a stick and having to worry about that. This gives you a perfect setup to keep the Mozzie net off of your head. You do that both ends, you almost get an internal roof. The finished results are something along these lines. The hammock itself level, approximately 30-degree hangers, approximately in the middle of your two trees. The Mozzie net off your face with spreader bars, and you're good to go really. So hopefully what we've gone through has been helpful. This particular 3-soldier hammock, that does tick all the boxes, and it's quite a nice bit of kit to consider for your bug out bag. But for now I'll leave you with that, and thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye for now.